Good afternoon, Manuel.
Good afternoon.
We've seen a picture of Wilfried Bony this lunchtime with his leg in a cast and some crutches. What's the situation?
Yes, unfortunately, Bonnie had yesterday cut in his leg, around 6-7 centimeters, so he's not able to play tomorrow.
How long will he effectively be out for, do you know?
No, I think that with the international break, he will be ready for the next game, so it must be 7 days, 10 days.
And that's a training injury, just a cut
Yes,
on the
yes,
leg?
yes.
We've been asking you for weeks about Kevin De Bruyne. Are we any closer to getting an answer from you or him arriving?
You must continue asking because the answer for the question is the same one. I don't talk about rumors.
In Germany, they're saying it's very close. Can you not give us any information whatsoever?
Maybe they have another information in Germany.
What were your thoughts on the Champions League group, Manuel? Was it, here we go again, we've got a tough draw again?
Well, about the draw, always I think the groups are difficult, and I think that the most difficult team in the group is Watford.
Is what, sorry?
Watford.
It's Watford, not the Oh, so we're not talking about the Champions League, not at all. Well, how tricky a game is it against Watford?
It's a difficult game because they play 3 games in the Premier League, the 3 games they draw. Have a very good manager, good players, and I think that the great mistake that we can do in this moment is to think that because we won the other 3 games, we are going to win the next game. We need to play in the same way, with the same concentration, with the same intensity, and the only way to do it is just thinking in Watford. That's why I don't want to answer more questions about the other competitions.
How difficult is it having a new signing like Otamendi, and yet a defence that's done so well and perhaps it's difficult to change?
No, but we didn't sign Otamendi for 1 or 2 games. I think that we signed Otamendi for 3 or 4 years. In this moment, I think that we are doing very well in defending, but we don't need just a team. We need a squad to play for competition, around 60 games during the whole season. So it's very important to have a strong squad more than just a good team.
True, but how impressed have you been with Eliakim Mangala and maybe an improvement in this second season with Manchester City?
Well, it's not the first player maybe that has problem in the first season here in the Premier League. It's not easy to play here in the Premier League. I think that Mangala last season he made very good games. He also made important mistakes, but he's a young player. He's always trying to improve. And I am sure, and I always said, that we bought a good player and he must demonstrate in the next years.
Can I just ask, whoever arrives in the next couple of days adds to an already big squad. They all want to play, I guess, every week. How do you keep them all happy?
Well, because I just said that I believe that if you have just 11 good players, you are not going to win nothing. There are too many games that you must play. You see, for tomorrow we have 3 young players in our squad. It's injury Clichy, it's injury Zabaleta, it's not Otamendi, it's injury Boni. We have a lot of players, Fernando. So in the squad list tomorrow we have Paulo Maffeo, that is on the EDS, we have Akelechi, we have Patrick Roberts, a lot of young players. So you need a strong squad, and the only way to be happy is to feel that you are necessary, and if you want to win something, you need to have a strong squad.
But I guess international players won't want to sit on the bench or miss a game. They'll want to be in that starting 11, won't they?
Maybe in this moment we have just a team, but just in August that we are going to play 1 game each week during September, October and November, including the national squad. The most amount of players will play around 8 or 9 games every month. So it's important to make rotation, it's important to try to avoid injury for a lot of things. So the way is to have a winning mentality and to think that we are all together must win titles.
How important is it this weekend that you are ruthless at home? Because last season against Burnley, against Hull, you dropped points at home against the sort of perceived smaller teams. Watford have come up this season. Again, they'll be perceived as a weaker team. But how ruthless have you got to be this weekend?
Well, I think that we must try to understand that to play against Watford is exactly the same to play against Chelsea, Arsenal or Manchester United. I think that all of them are teams of the Premier League. You know that here If you play with a little less intensity or not enough concentration, everything can win the game. So it's important to try, as I just said, to continue playing the same way we did the first game. So not to make the same mistake that we made last season.
And how difficult is it for the players? They'll have seen the draw yesterday. They've got to be talking about the teams that you're up against. I know your main concern is Watford, but how important is it to get the players to focus just on Watford and not to even think about the Champions League?
Well, I think that they are not thinking about that. Or maybe they can talk some things, but during the work, the season work, the session work now, we didn't talk not just one word about the Champions League. I told all the players that we must talk about the draw after they come back from the international breaks. So for the moment, we are just thinking Watford.
Manuel, how happy are you with the strikers that you have? It seems, obviously, Wilfred has an injury now. If Sergio was to get injured, it would seem you'd have to bring a young player into the attack. Are you looking for another striker, or are you happy with what you've got?
No, we are not looking for another striker because we have, as you said, Kuhn and Bonnie. We have Sterling also can play as an attacker, and we have Kelechi and Patrick Roberts, both of them. So I think that we are not going to bring another player. We are going to have one position for a young player as Kelechi or Patrick.
Manuel, you mentioned Sterling there. Why do you think he's settled in so well? Much was made of the price tag when he arrived, but he's played very well in the games he's featured in, particularly against Everton. Why has he settled in, do you think, in such a good way?
Well, because I think that for a young player to play with big players as we have here in Manchester City is very important to improve what he can do. I said from the beginning that I don't think that the most important thing is to talk about the price. I think the important thing is to see the performance of the player during the next years. We bought a player of 20 years old that scored 11 or 12 goals, that gave 20 assists of goal. You see that all the prices of different players are all very high, are always very high in this season. So we are not care about the price. We will care, and we are sure that when we brought him, it's because he's a very good player and he makes difference in every game.
Another of your players that has been performing well, Yaya Toure, has not been included in the Ivory Coast squad, so it looks like he's having an international break, whether that's permanent or not. How important would that be for Manchester City?
Well, I think that always proud for Manchester City to have all their players in the international squad. I think it's proud for the club because that means that we have very good players. In this case, I don't know if Yaya will go to his squad or he will stay here, but if he doesn't go, because he has important reasons.
And just a word about the potential club record. If you beat Watford, that would be 10 straight wins. How pleased would you be to manage to achieve that?
Very pleased because we are going to be at the top of the table with 12 points.
The record means nothing?
The record means that we are doing the things in the correct way.
Manuel? Up here. Sorry, did you say Otamendi was injured?
No.
No, he's okay.
He's not injured.
Okay. Can you give an update on Fernando and Clichy?
Fernando, I hope that during the international break he will be fit. Maybe Clichy has a problem in his ankle, so I think that he will be, I don't know exactly because I know the doctor, but around 6-7 weeks out. And Paulo has a problem in his ligament, so he will be around a month out also.
Hi Manuel, given the players you've added this summer, would you accept you've got no excuses not to win anything this season, so you should be winning at least one trophy this season?
Well, last season we have some restriction, but I didn't give any excuse about not to win the title. I think that this team must try to win title every year. It's not so easy. It's not so easy because you have strong team here in the Premier League, you have strong team in Champions League, but we must try to do it. We say, and the best way to at least try is to have a good squad. That's what we are going. We are trying to do it now, and we'll finish next Tuesday when the transfer window is closed. And after that, you need to now to play in the way we are doing. It's very important to have a good performance as individual players and have a good performance as a team. So with more players or without players, at least I didn't have never any excuse about not to win title.
Just going back to the strikers, I hear what you say about Sterling, but you do only have two frontline recognised top strikers. Is that not a concern at all? It's a little bit thin there.
No, because I think that we have Kelechi also. It's a very good striker. He's a young player that he needs an opportunity to demonstrate how he can play. I have a lot of trust in his performance, so I think that in that position we don't need any other player.
And well, just on Otamendi, has he got his work permit yet? Has all his paperwork been cleared, or are you still waiting for proper clearance?
He's not yet ready for his work permits, so he's not involved in the next game. But I think that tomorrow or Monday on Monday he will be ready.
So when the international break is finished, he'll be available.
Yes.
Will he go away with Argentina, or will he be? Will you go?
Sorry?
Will he go away with Argentina?
He goes with Argentina, also with Cunha and with Martinez Michel, the three of them.
Manuel, you mentioned last season the need to sign crack players to be able to challenge for all the major honours. Do you feel you've done that?
Yes, Sterling.
With Sterling, do you think you need any more?
I think that we must try to have the best squad that we can have it. There's a lot of things to analyze which are the best players. We are going to have the strong squad as we can. Maybe you never can bring all the players that you want, but I think that we have a very strong squad, and it's a squad that can win important things.
As in the Champions League? Is it good enough for that?
I think the Champions League is a very difficult championship because you have the best teams of all Europe. But of course, we are going to try first to qualify, and then we'll see what happens in the round of knockout. That everything can happen in 2 games.
You mentioned last season at around Christmas, January, with the amount of games you had at that time, that did affect the results. Is this squad now strong enough to be able to cope with any amount of matches?
I hope that we have a strong squad for that. I hope that the last season will be also a thing that we learn about a lot of things. So we are going to see how we finish this season.
You've scored 8 goals in 3 games, Manuel, and you played some great football so far. How pleased are you with the forwards that you have now, and how important is it for you to win in style?
Very important, because one thing that I never considered was to change the style because you are not having the result that you need. I started working here 2 seasons ago. In the first season, we were the team that won 2 titles and the most scoring teams. I don't like to change style because I think that fans deserve a style of an attacking football, a creative football that they really delight our games. The second season was exactly the same. We were the team that scored more goals, and I think that if we didn't win the title was for other reasons, but not because we must be more defensive or we must play another way. And this season, the same thing. We started scoring goals. We hope that we can continue scoring the most amount of goals that we can. It's very important also to keep a clean sheet, but keeping the style that you think is the best way to win.
8 goals so far. Did you expect that kind of performance?
Well, I always trust that we are going to score goals in every game because we work every day here to try to be a scoring team. So maybe sometimes we are not going to score, but very few times. So that's why it's so important to know how to defend. But I repeat, not to changing the players, to having more playing markers and less creative players. I think that we have a very balanced team, and we are doing in this moment both things very well. That's why we are a good team.
And Silva's had his best break for the past 4 years during the summer. How good does he look right now, and how important is he to what you do going forward?
It's very important because he's a really very creative player, and if I just explained that we want to be an attractive football and we want to create chances, we need makers as David to create important assistance and passes. I think that also David last season improved. And one of the good things of the last season was that David scored the most amount of goals in his career. So I think he's having more goals as he continues having those important creative as a player.
Finally, with Edin going, and I guess now Boney being out hurt, there's one thing that you lack perhaps, it's height. You don't have great height now. Is that an important issue for you at all in terms of putting your forward line together?
It's important, especially in Premier League, because all the teams has tall players, so it's very important to defend well set pieces. Last season, there are statistics back, I think that around the 35% of our goals we concede in set pieces, so it's important to defend well, and in that sense you need tall players. As you said, maybe in attacking we don't have tall players. In attacking we can finish all our play and our crosses by the ground cross, but in defending we must be very concentrated in the first ball, try to not concede corners or make easy fouls, so we are working in that sense also.
So it's not a concern that you haven't got as many tall forwards now as you had perhaps in the past?
It's concern, but for the moment we are doing well.
Well, just a bit about the formation for these 9 wins. I think have all been achieved with the 4-2-3-1. Aguero playing sort of up front with 3 people behind him. For a long time, you were sort of 4-4-2. Can you just explain why you changed?
No, I think that last season we changed a lot of times. We play without striker, we play with 2 strikers, we play with 1 striker. A lot of games during the first season, I think that we scored 6 goals against Arsenal or against Tottenham with 2 strikers. So I don't think that the tactical system is the important thing. You can play in different ways. The important thing is to make the correct movements and to recover the ball and to make the correct movement to create the space. So in this moment we are playing. But I don't think that we really change any important things.